Hello, friends, and welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. I am your host, Tom Downey. Let's dive into the latest Cowboys rumors. First up, could Jason Garrett call the plays on offense? I'll only give this one the 1 star, and that 1 star might really only be me holding out truth here. Now, the report from NFL.com was that not only did Garrett consider firing Linehan before the year, that they also considered firing Linehan during the bye week, and instead they decided to, fire Paul Alexander, trade for Mark Cooper, and also give Linehan more power before the season started in terms of the coaching staff and Des Bryant and all that stuff, which is kind of weird and doesn't really make a whole lot of sense from a logical perspective. But as for right now, look, the win over the Eagles, I think, hurts the chances of Linehan getting demoted and or fired and having Garrett call the plays. But I'm sure many of you are just like me, and you still want Linehan fired. Don't let the one good week fool you. Who here really expects Linehan to get the offense going week in and week out the rest of the season? Yeah, I didn't think so either. It's a FS fire Scott for me as well. All right, more coaching talk here. Are the Cowboys among the worst coached teams? That's what at least one NFL agent told The Athletic, and yeah, I kind of agree. 3 stars on this one. Now, the report did say that Garrett is well respected in the locker room, which I think is believable. But that players don't exactly think the team is very well coached, which I also agree with, because look at the offense, right? Now, the defense, I think, is fine. I think the defense is pretty well coached, but the offense overall, the O-line was clearly not well coached this year. The offense has not been well coached since 2016 at best. I give it 3 stars. I'll disagree on the defense part, so that's why it's only 3, but I think there's a reason that some players reportedly don't think the team is very well coached. All right, folks, thank you to all of you who have already subscribed to our Cowboys Report YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dallas Cowboys Report. There it is right there at the bottom of your screen. We're trying to get to 5K. We are almost there. Go subscribe now. All of our great Cowboys coverage all in one spot, plus some exclusive stuff like our film studies are up there. youtube.com/Dallas Cowboys Report. And we'll stick with our coaching theme here to start the show. Is Jason Garrett's job not saved yet? Well, of course it isn't, right? 4 stars right here. Now, yes, the win over the Eagles keeps Garrett and company safe for now. But remember what Jerry Jones was talking about after the game. He's already established that, you know what? This is what I think this Cowboys team can be every week. This Cowboys team can be a playoff team. So the expectations are once again raised. Jerry Jones thinks this roster, Stephen Jones, they think the team itself is good enough to be a playoff team. So what happens if they struggle down the stretch? What happens if they win 7 games, 8 games, or fall apart completely and win 6 games? Yeah, then I think you see Jason Garrett get fired. I still think it is a playoffs or bust year for Mr. Garrett. Let me know what you guys think. It's a no-brainer for me. We've seen it for 8 years. It's not good enough. It is a fire Jason Garrett from me. All right, next up, if the Cowboys do fire Jason Garrett, could they go hire Lincoln Riley? This is like the 3rd time we've had a different version of this rumor pop up. And look, once again, I'll stick with it. I think it is a simple 2-star rumor. I'm on board with Lincoln Riley, but we'll see if the Cowboys actually do. Now, the report is that both Jerry and Stephen Jones have an affinity for Lincoln Riley. And oh, by the way, I'll make one quick note here. Remember that John Stephen Jones, Stephen's kid, visited Oklahoma, and Stephen and Lincoln apparently managed to hit it off a little bit there. So if the Cowboys do fire Garrett, I think Lincoln Riley is a logical target. Now, Jones did say that report was pure speculation, totally speculation, pulled out of thin air. At the same time, the report said that Jerry has an affinity for Lincoln Riley, and then Jerry states, I think Coach Riley is outstanding. And that doesn't surprise me because he's successful, right? So that's a denial, but it's also kind of like not fully this is never going to happen now, but it is still a denial. Either way, if Jerry Jones does fire Jason Garrett, I do think Lincoln Riley is a logical target. Go way back to September. These were the top 5 guys we mentioned. Sean Payton, John Harbaugh, John DeFilippo, Lincoln Riley, and Kris Richard. I still think those 5 guys make sense, especially with the buzz that John Harbaugh might not be the Ravens head coach for much longer. All right, on to some player talk here. I know many of you are already talking about this one here. Could Xavier Su'a-Filo continue to start over Connor Williams? And Su'a-Filo was a very present surprise in his first action 2018. I'll give it 2 stars. It's in the rumor category for now, but it is definitely a discussion worth having. And I was impressed by how well Su'a-Filo played, given that on Wednesday, Adam Redmond got the first team reps at left guard, and then by Friday, Su'a-Filo had emerged and taken over that job away from Adam Redmond. And Su'a-Filo, a former second-round pick who, frankly, has been a bust in the NFL, was not that great with Houston, didn't even make the Titans roster, and now looks all of a sudden pretty darn good for the Cowboys. He definitely has more power than Connor Williams, and in the end, I think this could end up being a Ron Leary type situation. Now, Williams is going to try to play this week. I'm not even worried about it. I say start Su'a-Filo for at least one more week, and if he plays well again, at that point, I know that Connor Williams is your ideal long-term option there, but I think you give him with the old La'el Collins treatment. You say, sorry, La'el, you got hurt. Sorry, Connor, you got hurt. We're going to go with this other guy that we signed earlier this year in Leary, or in this case, Su'a-Filo, because if it works, you're not in a position where you can justify changing it quite yet. All right, some more notes here. Injury update, Daniel Ross. Did he get hurt? Well, yeah, he did, although it was kind of an unusual situation. He didn't play against the Eagles, and then mid-game, the report was that, Daniel Ross is a calf injury. Well, turns out he suffered it before the Eagles game even started there, and he was still active. So he's listed as day-to-day with the injury, and it is another injury for a banged-up Cowboys front. DeMarcus Lawrence is not 100%, but he's going to keep playing through it. David Irving, I don't expect he'll play this week. Taco Charlton, I would hope get back, but you're really thin up front. Malik Collins went down and then returned as well against the Eagles. Gregory played after coming off his own knee scope. A lot of injuries up front there for the Cowboys, but they keep finding a way to just field enough guys. All right, folks, if you like what I'm wearing, go get your own Mizzen and Main shirt. Comfortable.af is the website, and trust me, folks, you will not find a more comfortable dress shirt than a Mizzen and Main shirt. So go check them out, comfortable.af. All right, next up, was the Kris Richard skirmish a bad thing? And some of you guys didn't like my comment there on YouTube, but I still feel that way. I'm going to give it 3 stars because even Stephen Jones says that he didn't like that. Now, if you didn't see it, Kris Richard pregame got into a little shoving match with cornerback Jalen Mills. And although I love the passion, I love the energy, and that really sums up Kris Richard to a T, you don't want your coach pushing other players from other teams. That's just a really bad look. So feel free to chime in. I'll only put it at 3 because I do love the passion that he has, just in general, and the energy that he has. But you don't want your coach getting involved in a shoving match. And I know that it's different. I know a lot of you guys love the energy, but you can't let that happen. I agree with Stephen Jones here. Kris, it's just a really bad look overall. All right, next up, are the Cowboys going to win the NFC East? Well, maybe not. I'll give this one just the 1 star here. I don't think it's actually all that likely or all that realistic of an outcome here. For one big reason. For starters, you know what? Is this really the route they're going to go? Because Aikman says he would bet on the Cowboys to win. This, by the way, a week after he says, by the way, the Cowboys need a total regime change, and now they're going to win the NFC East, even though I get it. It's easy to get caught up after what happened. The Eagles are clearly not as good, folks. But at the same time, the Redskins are 6-3. I know that they're banged up right now, but it's really a 2.5 game lead for the Redskins because they already won the head-to-head matchup, and they have a better divisional mark overall. So will the Cowboys win the NFC East? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I lean more towards no. I don't think this Cowboys team is going to win enough games. I think the Redskins or even the Eagles might be a better pick right now. So in terms of the betting odds out there right now via our friends over at BetDSI, they tend to agree with me. They've got the Redskins as the odds-on favorite right now, minus 122. The Eagles plus 200, and the Cowboys there plus 320. If you want to waste your money, go bet on the Giants. An unbelievable number there. But again, look, if you think the Cowboys are going to do this, and I think now is the time to buy in if you're going to, because if they lose next week, you're not going to want to bet. If they win next week, the odds will go up. So plus 320. So if you put down $10, or as Aikman said, if you just want to put down $1, put down $10, you win $32. You can bet on these odds right now at chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Cowboys120 gets you a 120% deposit bonus. Put down $100. They're going to give you $120 for free for a grand total of $220 to bet with on BetDSI. That's chatsports.com/bet, but you got to use that promo code Cowboys120. All right, one last rumor for you guys, and I'm sure many of you saw this on social media. Are there ref issues in the Cowboys games, I should say? I'll give it 3 stars. There is a distinct lack of holding on pass plays in games the Cowboys are playing against. Now, it is true, the main tweet that I think many of you guys saw it there, that the Cowboys opponents haven't had a holding on a pass play since week 1. Well, that's true. There was one against the Giants that was declined. And by the way, the Eagles were not called for a single penalty. I don't want to believe that it's malicious from the NFL or there's some grand scheme to prevent the Cowboys from getting proper calls against the officials. But at worst, this is a really bad look for the NFL. This is back-to-back years where the Cowboys have had an unusually unlikely percentage of calls go against them relative to what other teams are getting. It's questionable at best, and in all likelihood, there's probably something the NFL needs to say, hey, this should not happen across the board. If it happens one week, okay. But it's almost every week where you have the Redskins, alerting the refs and no one tells LP about his little movement that really shouldn't have been flagged. You had the blatant holding on Damian Wilson that NBC zoomed in on and showed and never mentioned. So there's definitely something going on here, but I just don't want to really believe it's malicious and a grand scheme against the Cowboys by the NFL. All right, folks, we will be back tomorrow for our next Cowboys Report. But in the meantime, get me your questions in the comments for our upcoming mailbag. Been a little bit, so send me any questions you guys have here on Facebook, on YouTube, or hit me up on Twitter @WhatGoingDowney.